This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
A very good evening to you and welcome. It's Monday, 7th July 2025. Remember, mental health is real. Seek help. End the stigma. On the news this evening, one dead, one hospitalized after alleged abusive relationship turns tragic in Port Harcourt. NBA demands justice over killing of lawyer in Port Harcourt. Rivers government submits response to House of Representatives Committee budget queries. Lawyer urges former governors to stop tarnishing Rivers State's image. On the foreign scene, Iran president says Tehran open to dialogue with US. I am Constance Irele Mega. Neighbors say a suspected case of abusive relationship between two lovers has left one dead and the other hospitalized in the Choba community of Obiakpo local government area in Rivers State. The incident, which happened at Rumo Chakara Street in the early hours of last Saturday, involved the lovers Sonny Amadi, popularly known as Saint, an estate agent from Ilibrada community, and his partner Cynthia Chukunda from Rumodogo, both in Emoha local government area. Correspondents visited the apartments and caught up with the neighbors, who said the partners had a history of violent quarrels. They alleged that Cynthia reportedly assaulted the late Saint in the past, adding that in one of the incidents last December, she allegedly stabbed the late Saint multiple times over suspicions of infidelity. Now, they also alleged that in February this year, she poured petrol on him during an argument, threatening to set him ablaze. The neighbors said Saint moved out for 2 months, but later returned. They said the latest tragedy began with a minor quarrel on Friday night, and the late Saint reportedly trying to leave the house, pretending he was going to buy mosquito coil, but Cynthia told him she had already bought one. Now, they also said around 2 a.m. Saturday, they saw fire and smoke coming from the apartment, and when they rushed out, they found Sonny, that Saint, crawling out of the burning building with severe burns. A neighbor rushed him to the hospital, where he later died. Now, they said they saw an online video of Cynthia with serious burns and is currently receiving treatment in the hospital. They, however, call on the police to investigate what they said was a long-running case of domestic abuse that ended in tragedy. While it remains unknown the true cause of the incident, meanwhile, the Rivers State Police Command is yet to speak on this. Now, reacting to this, the coordinator, Rivers State Response Team on Violence Against Women and Children, Tombare Dumkakote, said the lady should turn herself over to the police for proper investigation into the matter. He said it is a case of culpable homicide. He also urged people in abusive relationships to quit. And according to him, it is the 7th death recorded in the state in the last 2 months involving gender-based violence.
Whether she's being treated in any hospital or not, she needs to make the police know where her location is. She needs to turn in herself. If she's receiving any treatment, after that treatment, the history of the relationship needs to be investigated, and then she will be held to account for whatever incident would have happened.
In another development, the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, has condemned the killing of one of its members, Bright Ndaoho, who was reportedly killed in Port Harcourt on Saturday. Reports say Ndaoho was attacked around 8 p.m. after shopping at a supermarket at Rumo Masi. Eyewitnesses said 3 armed men entered his vehicle and shot him without taking any valuables. While reacting to this, the NBA president, Afamo Sigwe, in a statement expressed outrage over the tragic incident, describing it as senseless and brutal. and demanded immediate justice. Moving on, a source at the Rivers State government says the state has responded to the request by the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Rivers Emergency Rule regarding the 2025 budget. Now, last Monday, the committee gave the state government 48 hours to justify several allocations, including 24 billion naira for CCTV cameras, and that's at the state government house, 30 billion naira for gunboats, and 23 billion naira for contingency reserves. Now, the source tells our correspondents that the government has submitted its response to the lawmakers' demands, and the source did not, however, specify whether all the committee's concerns were addressed, and it's not clear when the meeting was held. Away from that, spokesman of the Emeka Beke-led APC in Rivers State, Mr. Darlington Nwoju, has dismissed the recent claims by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike as a distraction. Now, Wike had alleged that the wife of former Minister of Transportation Chibuike Amechi may have been indicted in the NDDC forensic audit report, suggesting this was why the Buhari administration never made the report public. Now, in his response, Nwoju tells correspondent Suibi Oruwari that the claims were simply aimed at diverting attention. He said instead of making accusations, the FCT minister should resign and allow an independent investigation into recent allegations of land grabbing against him in Abuja.
I think that the allegation thrown at the wife of his former boss, Dame Judith Amechi, is diversionary. It is no mere allegation. Documents are there for which a department in the FCTA administration has even issued a query claiming it was that staff that leaked those official documents. The man who is saying release NDDC report, I will resign, has not even had the guts and the courage to resign. It is required that he be investigated.
Nwoju, who said he was involved in the National Assembly's probe of the NDDC, explained that the findings from the National Assembly contradicted those of the forensic audit. Now, this, he believes, may have been one of the reasons the report was not released.
As an active participant in the process of auditing the activities of the NDDC, the investigative hearing reports from the National Assembly will surely contradict the efforts made selfishly by then Minister of the Niger Delta, Godswill Akpabio. That's why I say I challenge them to release the report of that audit. Then from there we will talk further.
Well, Nwoju has...
And I am aware that even in war situations, women and the children are always protected. So we are going to see more of such, what is predictable, you call it, because no ideas. Keep on seeing that most of the things that are being said are not only watery, but are things that should not even come up at all. In a democracy, nobody is telling you how the state is going to move from point A, okay, but how to move a state forward, but you can never hear such topics.
As you may know, the FCT minister has denied the allegations of land against him. Still, lawyers reveal. Stay tuned.
John. This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Thanks for staying with us. An APC member in Rivers State, Mr. Chizi Nyomasila, has described as unfortunate the recent trade of words between former governors of the state, Chibuike Amechi and Nyesom Wike. In an interview with correspondent Onyeka Chinwosu, Nyomasili said both leaders should have focused on issues and ideas, not personal attacks. He also called on elders in Rivers State to step in and help calm the situation.
I did not expect that they begin to watch their destiny in outside. Don't forget that they were first friends and brothers. They had worked together for a very long time, and then coming now to do, and again, this issue of politics could bring two of them in together. There is nothing you can foreclose in politics. Somebody can be opponent today and then be close allies and friends tomorrow. Of course, if you look at the coalition they are forming, you can see that once enemies are now together, work together. So I don't think that that's a good example for the upcoming people in Rivers State. They could have gone ideological instead of going personal.
Speaking about Amaechi's decision to join a new political group, Daniel Maseli said Amaechi has the right to choose where he belongs politically, but his supporters are free to decide whether or not to follow him.
Amaechi has his fundamental human right to belong to whatever association he wants to and to pursue his goals and aspirations. But as it affects those of his allies that were in either SIM or Wike, if anybody wants to follow him, of course he has to come back to Rivers State to address some of his group and then find out those who want to follow him or who does not want to follow him. It's a choice. He has made his choice, and so he will also allow his subjects to make their choice. But again, some of us are not in a haste. So there are persons who just by his body language will just go. There are some persons who will say, we need to know why you are doing this and what that will bring to Rivers State and Rivers people.
Well, still on this, a Port Harcourt-based lawyer, Mr. Vincent Chukwu, has advised both former governors to stop making statements and taking actions that damage the image of the state.
Their misunderstanding or disagreement is inconsequential. I think they should also learn from other states. We are not the only state in Nigeria, so we shouldn't always be in the front burners of the news media all the time, washing maybe our dirty linens in public. The kind of politics that the FT minister tends to play is not a very healthy one for our polity. Whichever way that he has settled with the suspended governor, we want to say that we as Rivers people, Rivers State does not belong to him.
Well, Chukwu also warned the presidency not to use state power to suppress the efforts of the new political coalition, saying democracy must be allowed to thrive.
What we are saying is that people should be given the veritable space to express their political and other opinion and views. Parties, people have come together with different political ideology and opinion. They should be allowed to register as an association to form a party to express their programs and ideology to the people. The government should not interfere or use state institutions to scuttle popular wishes of the people.
In the meantime, a public affairs analyst, Mr. Obiwan Akaniwa, says Peter Obi's involvement in the new political coalition has shaken the presidency, prompting them to issue all manner of new policies of hope to Nigerians. Akaniwa made the remarks in an interview with correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
Obi had been quite explicit in making his position. Obi, from my thinking, is a man who has come out open to say, this is what I want. And he is working assiduously to achieving those things. His position in the alliance, Obi is a denominator in the Nigerian political permutation. It is quite difficult for the other politicians to unseat Tinubu if they fail to view the Obi as the candidate of that coalition arrangement.
Akaniwa also criticized the APC-led government's recent promise to remove obstacles to food security, calling it unrealistic.
In the removal of bottlenecks that will enhance this or engender this or that. These are pep talks, if you ask me. Nigerians have been served with these pep talks over the years without any corresponding results. The emergence of this coalition seems to have excited the leadership of Tinubu. I don't think those statements made by the presidency would to any point change things now.
Elsewhere, Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah has unveiled the state-owned airline Enugu Air, describing it as a giant leap for the state and a gold standard for government-private sector partnership. The inaugural flight of the state-owned airline took off today, marking what the governor called a historic moment for Ndi Enugu. Speaking at the launch, Mbah said the achievement aligned with his administration's vision of transforming Enugu into a premier destination for investment, living, and tourism in Nigeria. Also speaking at the launch of Enugu Airline, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, revealed that Nigerian airports are operating at a financial loss without private sector involvement. Keyamo said the federal government can no longer sustain them profitably. The minister addressed public concerns over the fate of the Enugu airport, clarifying that the facility was not being sold but concessioned to private investors.
And now we bring you news from around.
And on the international scene, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says he believes Iran can resolve its differences with the U.S. through dialogue, but trust will be an issue after U.S. and Israeli attacks on his country. Pezeshkian, in an interview, said he is of the belief that both countries can easily resolve their differences and conflicts with the U.S. through dialogue and talks. Well, the Iranian leader urged U.S. President Donald Trump not to be drawn in war with Iran by Israeli Benjamin Netanyahu, who is visiting Washington today for talks at the White House. And that's the news, but before we go, let's take a look at the highlights. On the news this evening, you heard that one person is dead, another hospitalized after a alleged abusive relationship turned tragic in Port Harcourt. The NBA is demanding justice over the killing of a lawyer in Port Harcourt, and the Rivers State government has submitted its response to the House of Representatives Committee budget queries. A lawyer has urged former governors to tarnishing the image of Rivers State. Foreign scene, Iran president says Tehran is open to dialogue with the U.S. The news was edited by Martha Okere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Constance Irele Mega. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening.